guys, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to make a 50 caliber bullet pen. I got this from Penn State Industries. It uses a 50 caliber empty shell, and we are going to turn the pen part will be the actual the bullet. And I'm making this for a friend of mine for his birthday. He was kind of hinting he really thought it was cool, so we're going to go ahead and make that. I got this camouflage acrylic blank that will be the bullet part with the pen, and these are a fun project to do, so let's get started. Okay guys, here we have various components of the pen. We have the cartridge, right? It's right there. This mechanism is what turns and retracts the pen to close it, right? See it there? These are other pen parts. You have the tip of the pen. This is the sleeve that goes there to the pen part. So we have various pen parts, and then you can pick the blank you want to go into the pen, right? So we picked this kind of, becomes a very camouflage sort of pen, which goes with this kind of military theme of this 50 millimeter cartridge. And that's exactly where they get these from. They purchase them from the military. They're practice rounds. So go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark where I want to cut this blank. For this type of pen, I don't really need a lot of the blank. I like to make it a little longer than the plans actually suggest. It's just something, I think it looks a little better personally. So I'll cut it to length on my table saw. You could use a bandsaw for this or cut it by hand. This blank isn't that big, so I really want to find where absolute center is so I don't mess it up. If I'm off a little bit, I won't have enough. You can see here when I put the ring. So I'm going to go ahead and drill this over at the drill press. You want a nice straight through hole. This is a bit that I use only for drilling into blanks for pens. It sits over in my lathe station, nice and sharp. These holes have to be pretty precise and straight, so I only really use it for that. I don't keep it with the rest of my bits. I just keep these for drilling pen blanks. There's the hole. Nice and clean. Now I was going through my scraps and I happened to find the larger blank the same size. So I went ahead and drilled the hole the same way I did the other. Mixed some epoxy here to glue in the tube. So I'm just going to, I like rolling it in it. You could paint it on with the brush. But I like applying it to the tube. Then I stick it in, wiggle it back and forth, make sure it's in there nice and good. I'm going to wipe this clean because it's going to be hard to clean this up later. I'm checking the epoxy to see if it's dry. Checking the blank. Everything looks good. This is a mill for the end. This will make the end of this blank perfectly square with that tube. It's a specialty item just for that. Go to where I keep all my bushings, and here's for the pen kit. So I'm going to go ahead and start assembling this on the mandrel. This sleeve goes on. Allows me to turn it to that correct diameter. Just putting some spacers, and I'll assemble it on the mandrel like this. The front bushing and this. The bushings allow me to turn it to exact size of the pen components. So that's why bushing sets are kind of nice to use. I'm going to stick it right in my lathe here. Bring up the tailstock for support. You don't want to crank down on this tailstock, just enough to keep it from wandering. Check my heights. I'm going to begin turning. Now, I find it sometimes difficult to turn acrylics. They can chip easily. So, in this initial roughing, I'm not really taking a lot off, as you can see. And the reason being is I don't want to risk chipping the blank. Little chips can be fixed with super glue, but a major chip, you might as well start over. I also ordered a new mandrel. If you look at my mandrel here, it's wobbling a little.
Just bringing this down very carefully. Don't want to bite too much. So when working with a Penn kit, the bushings tell me where to bring the blank down to. So you can see the bushing on the left, or the larger bushing, will be where that ring will go, and it's the same dimension as that ring. And the front bushing is the same dimension as the tip of the pen. So by shaping down to those bushings, I'm sure I'll have a good fit. Using the square carbide here, just to smooth everything out and bring it down. Don't want to take too much. Just going to go ahead and take a light cleanup pass. So I'm going ahead and sanding. I work my way up 120 through a sanding pack that goes to 600. And then I love these micro mesh pads. They go all the way up to like 15,000 grit or something crazy like that. And just by sanding, I could bring it to shine. I couldn't do probably with any other finish. It'll last a while, and it looks really good. Here I have to clean up the back a little bit. I had problems the first time and chipped a little. So I went and just took a little bit off. But you want to square up that end so the back of the cartridge will fit nicely. Normally you would do this on the mill, but because of how much the tube sticks out for this pen design, you can't get the mill in there. So this is really the only way to clean it up. They sell a thing to actually go ahead and assemble a pen, a little kind of vise thing. I find that it's not really necessary. The bench vise I already have works fine, and that's one less thing I have to find a home for. Putting the tip on, and you can see by using those bushings, they fit nicely. So I'm putting on the main cartridge that twists the pen. If you see here, my first attempt, it doesn't really stick out enough. And I like to take it easy and test, because this is where you can compensate for any variances that you maybe cut the blanks a little short or a little long. You can make the difference up here. So I just nudge it a little bit, check my fit to get exactly where it is. It's not easy to come apart. In fact, next to impossible unless you have certain punch tools. So it works good. Well, there you have it, guys. Joe has it at work, and people are scared to take it off his desk. It's scary. It's a scary pen. He loves it, so I'm pretty confident to say gift success. Till next time, thanks for coming to my shop.